Hi guys, I'm Tim, this is Mike, and we're here at Big Bear Bikes in Pickering, North Yorkshire to review the Trek Emonda Alr 5. Now you might have seen that we've got quite a few bike reviews on the YouTube channel now, so if you like the content that we're putting out, don't forget to like and subscribe. But Mike, stunning colour, tell us a little bit more about the Emonda Alr 5. In fact, the Emonda, where does the Emonda sit in Trek's road bike lineup? Yeah, very good point. So the Emonda is their lightweight climbing bike, quite racy. Quite a bit lower at the front, so you have there's 4 different bikes, I suppose, in their field of road bikes. So I guess let's talk about, so first you'd have the Shimano, which is a little bit more upright, a nice comfortable bike on the carbon, as we've talked about before. It's got the ISOSpeed technology, so that's clever feature, a really comfortable bike, but it is a bit more upright. A bit more sportivy for a long day out, really, you know, on the road. I think you've ridden one of them, haven't you? So I have, yeah. Incredible, unbelievably comfortable compared to a more aggressive road bike.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Then you've got the Emonda, which sits in the middle of the super aero road bike, which is the Madone, which is the opposite of that. It's very low at the front end, super streamlined, and a very fast bike. You know, once it's get up to speed, I think we talked about that in one of our videos, isn't it? At length is the mega fast bike. This kind of sits in the middle of it. So it is, like I said, known as a lightweight climbing bike. What that means is it's got a lovely lightweight frame, you know, and it can climb really well because it's super light. But they have introduced some of the Madone's, I guess, aero sides.
Yeah, we've talked about the trickle down of that technology from the Madone to this bike. So they're calling it almost like a semi-aero race bike, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It comes in an aluminium version, as we've got here. So the ALR is the aluminium version. We'll look at a little bit later as the carbon versions, the SL, and we'll look at about the differences. So I guess just to come to this bike, so the aluminium bike here ALR is its lightest weight. They did used to do a couple of aluminium Emondas. They don't do it so much now because they just concentrate on this ALR, which is a super lightweight frame. I think it actually weighs about 1,250 grams.
So just talking that, I mean, the minute we talk aluminium nowadays, anybody thinking about buying a road bike typically, I think, is like, I want a carbon road bike because that's the thing to have.
Yes, yeah.
But from a weight point of view, I picked this up in the shop earlier in the week, and I couldn't believe how light it was.
Yeah.
And I know you and I were chatting. My very first road bike was a carbon Giant Defy, which is like their endurance bike, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I was determined I was going to get a carbon road bike. But actually, this is every bit as light as that carbon road bike.
Yeah, definitely. I think as technology has advanced and stuff, I think they're able to create different tube shapes and also I guess the widths of them as well. So the diameters of them. It's a lot thinner gauge in different parts of this, and you know, different forms of it as well. It makes it mega light. But yeah, at that kind of weight, that was carbon of the past, definitely. You know, at 1,200 grams is super light.
So message number 1 is don't be put off by aluminium.
No,
actually, aluminium is light, it's stiff, it's fast.
It is, yeah, and it can be a bit more compliant as well. I mean, there was definitely that adage of aluminium used to be really stiff and it'd rattle you around. It's definitely not as comparable as carbon, but you can actually make it with today's designs of shapes of tubes. You can make it more comfortable. I mean, this one has got a full carbon fork, which definitely takes the sting out of the ride. And when I say full carbon, it's actually got a carbon steerer here as well in there. So that is a nice feature to have as well. So it makes it light. But yeah, it is a light bike all the way through, isn't it? As you said, it picked it up. Yeah, lovely bike.
What's this colour? It looks unbelievable.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So it's azure, which is azure blue, to living coral, and it's a fade, of course. And it's interesting you say that is because that kind of design of fade, that used to be on some of their Project Ones. That was an option. And it's nice to be able to see.
It's a very special colour, but actually it's a bike
you can buy it as a mainstream bike, which is brilliant, isn't it? It is cool, isn't it? It's really bright. I think when you get it outside, it's like, wow, it's ace.
So who's this bike aimed at? I mean, an aluminium frame race bike. Who's going to buy it?
Yeah, so you could have, I mean, a lot of customers really, you could have somebody that's coming from, let's say, starting their journey with Trek bikes, and they've been on the Shimano because it's a comfortable aluminium AL bike, slightly more upright, a bit more comfortable, but they want a bit more nimble bike, so, and they like the idea of it being a bit lighter, it's able to climb a bit more, and it's fast and racy. It's certainly the same geometry exactly as the carbon bikes, right down to the SLR, so they can have that ace nimble race feeling.
Yeah.
a much better value price point, which is great. But it's also somebody that could be, I mean, realistically, with even the 105 there, because that is a super group set that would definitely be, you know, in the past, I bet that's a trickle down as well.
Well, they've now brought out Di2 in 105, so clearly Shimano think that 105 is a cracking group set.
Absolutely, yeah. Lightweight, really good group set. Obviously, this is a cable one, but yeah, very easy to use, quick and nimble. But that bike, you know, a racer that could be, you know, doing Cat 4, Cat 3 races, happily jump on that bike.
I read a review
really
a few people were saying they were fairly convinced that Trek had crit racing in mind a little bit with this, with the aluminium frame from a damage point of view, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
But also from a price point of view, it is accessible. I think this bike's about 2,300.
It is, you're right,
about £2,300, which, you know, to be on Shimano 105, to have the Emonda geometry, the aerodynamic technology that's in there, the carbon wheels, that's quite a lot of bike nowadays when bikes are typically 3, 4, 5, 6,000 pounds.
Yeah, absolutely. You're very right there. Yeah, it is a really good value bike, but it's still got great components with it. I mean, obviously a lot of bikes at this price point have got disc brakes on nowadays, but that's a real big change they had to make to the bikes when that came out, because they had to really, it's not just kind of, you know, bolting them on. They had to make sure it was sort of stiff enough to cope with the extra pressures there, and the same on the forks. So, and that's been, you know, designed specifically as well with not just weight, but the way that the bike handles as well. So yeah. Clever design, but fast and nimble.
So we've got Trek's absolute awesome race machine, the Emonda, but in an aluminium frame. But it's the ALR. It's the 300 series aluminium. It's lightweight. And honestly, guys, come down and pick this bike up. You will be surprised. I was genuinely surprised. But let's just talk through the components. I know we've touched on that there. So what have we got in terms of the wheel set?
Okay, so yeah, it's Bontrager's, which is the accessory company for Trek, is the Paradigm wheel set. So this is actually a tubeless ready, nice aluminium rim, nice hubs as well. So it's a good wheel set, really. Again, these things are, when we talked about how wheels have grown a little bit in width, so you can put bigger tyres on them.
What are on this as standard?
So this has actually got 28s on this one. Right. You can actually go to 30. It will fit a 30
so
in there.
28 to 30 mil tyres.
Okay. Obviously, if you wanted to be on 25s, it'll do 25s as well. But yeah, that just makes it more comfortable as well, because the rims are slightly wider as well. So that's good. Nice package. Yeah, we talked about the 105. On this particular one, Trek are very clever in doing so. In the, let's say there's different values of the bikes and stuff. So in the 105, they have compact on this particular one, as in compact at the front. So you've got a 50 and a 34 there. And you'll know yourself, you can have semi-compact and then traditional, which is old school in many ways, but now 53, 39. This one is compact, so that's you know, a great reason for it to be able to do some big climbs, but actually be a fast bike as well. And then you've got 1128 on this, oh sorry, 1130 should I say. So yeah, really good range of gears there, really nice, and obviously the powerful hydraulic brakes, super.
So hydraulic brakes, 105, and I think with some bike manufacturers, when you start getting down to sort of the lower price points, you often find mismatched components, don't you?
Yeah.
You'll find a little bit of Shimano, but then some oddball derailleur.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where with Trek, we always get the complete group.
All the way through, it's superb, So there is a bike that's above this in the aluminium as well, which is top of the range, in that it has exactly the same beautiful frame, but they changed the 105 to Ultegra all the way through. Still cable operated Ultegra. They can, obviously there are big changes to Shimano now, because in the 12 speed we do see the Ultegra and Dura-Ace going to fully electric. So there isn't a cable version of that, but that's something we'll talk about.
Yeah, talk about another time. Yeah, really interesting. So I think for anybody watching this video then, so you can go for the ALR 5 with Shimano 105, or I presume it's the ALR 6.
Yes, that's correct.
Coming with Shimano's Ultegra, and again mechanical presumably.
Yes,
Cool, happy days. So what else, if you were thinking about buying this bike, what else is of note? There's no space for mudguards and racks, you know, so this is absolutely a race bike.
That's telling you that, isn't it? Yeah. This is so the Demane would be the bike for touring, for winter, let's say. I mean, you can obviously fit mudguards on this. You can fit some lightweight mudguards on it. So you know, if you only had one bike and you wanted to do it all, of course you can do that. But yeah, for the, you know, it hasn't got the actual mudguard eyes or the rack eyes. So that's the Demane or the Checkpoint, the gravel bike, that sort of thing. But this is the bike that's saying, look, I'm I can be a race bike, and I'm stripped down, pared down, ready for going. So yeah, fast, quick.
So Trek are saying that this is their, their best value Emonda, and it looks fantastic in the flesh. If you're not picking that up on the video, definitely come and see this bike. But Mike, you said let's compare this to a carbon road bike.
Shall I bring
Do you
out?
want to grab
that one in? Yeah, definitely. All right, so here we go. Probably around about here. So this is the aluminium version, and it's quite nice to sort of see. Let's see what the similarities. It's exactly the same. I mean, the bike looks a bit different because you can see there's a different carbon layup, different shapes within the bike. Maybe a bit more aero at the front end as well. If you just turn the steering there, you can certainly see the, the built-in part there, the changes to that aero. So, but in the same vein, it is. Obviously, this is the SL5. This is the carbon OCLV 500 series. But the geometry is exactly the same. So, if we'd set the stack heights exactly the same height, the seat height, I would, if I jumped you on this particular bike and they're both the same size, you would be literally millimetre perfect on both. So, yeah. So that's really nice to know. So it means that when we look back at this bike, you have got that exactly the same racer geometry as the rider that is on either the SL or the SLR here, let's say, with the top end of everything. It's exactly the same geometry, so you could get that kind of fit.
It's funny that you mentioned the carbon frame, and I was reading that Trek talk about their weld technology and just how good that is.
Yes.
To an untrained eye, that aluminium frame could pass off as a carbon frame. Yeah,
you can sort of see that at the front end there. It's really smooth. It's really beautiful, and also as well, you can see actually in the shape of their the head tube there. It's very similar, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's got that aero flow for it. So it is, it's been enhanced to be able to go through the air very, very quickly, just as this bike is. And those sort of things really come into their own when you start to, as when you're going over that 25-mile-an-hour sort of speed or whatever you're descending, the bike's sort of just quicker, isn't it? So brilliant to see and to feel as well. But yeah.
So I love the ALR5. I love it in that colour. I think if you want to stand out amongst your mates, that's the bike to have.
Absolutely, definitely, but it's nice to have that option.
What do you think is the point that somebody would go from the aluminium, the ALR, to the SL carbon frame?
I guess realistically, there are some the benefits still of the carbon. The carbon is a bit more compliant, a bit more comfortable. It's basically that it is I guess it's a bit more nimble as well. It's a bit more. It's a bit more, turns in a little bit better. It feels a bit faster as well. So yeah. They're very similar in weight, in the frame. It shows how light that is, really, which is incredible.
So slightly stiffer, slightly more nimble, but very, very similar in weight. Both stunning bikes, and both in the shop now.
Absolutely, yeah. Come down and see them because they are. I mean, let's get you on a test ride. That's the best bit.
Definitely.
You really want to jump on them and let's see the difference.
I'm super keen to ride both these bikes, having ridden the Demane this week.
Yes.
It'll be really interesting to see how they compare. But there you have it, guys. So this is the Trek Emonda. The range is in full here at Big Bear Bikes in Pickering in North Yorkshire. You've got the choice of the SL carbon fibre framed Emonda or this super cool looking azure blue to living coral ALR5. They're in stock and available now. Come and talk to Mike and the team and they'll happily let you test ride these bikes and see what you think for yourself. So we'll see you soon.
Thank you.